Raise your hand if you remember Brittney Griner, the strong, independent woman that don't need no man, but doesn't in fact need a pay increase because it's just so unfair that the WNBA doesn't make as much money as the NBA, despite the fact that they don't sell tickets. She's also the fair maiden that needed rescued by the big, strong American government. Yeah, that Brittney Griner, the one that we traded the Merchant of Death for to bring back to the country after she was, detained in Russia for, I believe, 10 months or something to that effect. Well, she's getting a comic book. Yeah, comics already aren't selling, no one's buying comics, no one's buying Marvel, no one's buying DC, sales are abysmal, trailing way behind manga, but sure, let's give her a comic book. That's what we're going to discuss today. So, welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and let's get into this story right here from Psy.com or C.com. Brittney Griner comic book to be released next week. I couldn't think of a more fitting medium for this story to be told than in one that has not been selling in the last several years. This is guaranteed to be a flop. No one is going to read this. Very, very few people are going to buy this. What a joke. Let's go through here. Brittney Griner's harrowing detainment in Russia and eventual return to the United States dominated news cycles for the better part of 2022, becoming one of the most gripping and inspiring stories of the year in the process. Well, we can already see where the bias is going to lie here. I'm sure it's not going to talk about what an awful trade it was, the fact that we sent one of the most well-known arms dealers and potential terrorists of the 20th and 21st century to, for a basketball player, completely ignoring the fact that we have other individuals detained in Russia, such as, Navy SEALs that haven't seen their family in 3 or 4 years. But sure, let's talk about the harrowing, gripping, and inspiring story of the female basketball player who had some weed. What a joke. Now the WNBA star's incredible story is set to be immortalized in a special project for comic book publishers Tidal Wave Comics. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Hold on, let's check and see what Tidal Wave Comics have done. Okay, so it looks like first book into Bold and the New Brave. Never heard of this. Brittney Griner biography. First look into Orbit. Dave Grohl, the comic book. Dave Grohl. So it looks like maybe, first looking at Tidal Wave Comics presents Volume 1. Alright. Legend of Isis, Pandora's Box. Dave Grohl. Polka Spot the Llama. Mariah Carey. Female Force, Mariah Carey. Bold and the Brave again. More Mariah Carey. President George H.W. Bush comic on the treatment and the anniversary of his passing. This doesn't really look like anything special, and that's really all they've got. So maybe they're a startup company. What about us? Tidal wave, you can feel it coming before you actually experience it. A pressure, an electric charge, and then the thunder. Winds blow, waters churn, and no one can escape its power. Tidal Wave delivers a multimedia experience unparalleled in the burgeoning graphic fiction and nonfiction marketplace. Dynamic storytelling coupled with groundbreaking art delivers an experience like no other. Stories are told through multiple platforms and genres, gracing the pages of graphic novels, novelizations, engaging audio dramas, cutting-edge film projects, and more. Diversity defines Tidal Wave's offerings in the new burgeoning pop culture marketplace, offering fresh voices and innovative storytellers. Well, so that is who is going to be creating the Brittney Griner comic. Oh, sure, yeah, that's going to be your number one best. Actually, it very well might be their number one bestseller, and it'll still make like $20. Jeez. The company issued a press release on Thursday announcing the upcoming release of a comic book chronicling Griner, written by Michael Frizzell, the art by Martin Gimez, titled Female Force, Brittney Griner. The 22-page comic book will highlight Griner's days as a collegiate star at Baylor, to her meteoric ascent in the WNBA, to her recent fight for freedom overseas. It wasn't much of a fight. Brittney Griner didn't do any fighting. She's kind of sat there and rotted into jail while America did all the fighting, and even America didn't do a whole lot of fighting. It was like, oh, you want this incredibly dangerous criminal for our basketball chick? Alright, sounds fair. My initial approach was to explore her history to show her growth as an athlete in person, said Frizzle of the project. I found Brittney's story fascinating despite not knowing much about the WNBA before I started the research. I hope readers will walk away understanding the person behind the headlines. So even the writer wasn't a follower of the WNBA, which is no big shock. I mean, what are the odds that, one of the 12 people that follow the WNBA is also a professional writer? So that makes sense. But oh my goodness. Homeboy was like, yeah, I didn't know much about the WNBA. I just wanted to capitalize on this story and, push a message, I assume. Oh, wow. What an article. According to the company's official website, the Griner comic, which began production prior to her legal issues in Russia, marks the latest installment of the publisher's Female Force series, which celebrates women with the inspirational stories in fields ranging from business to entertainment to activism and beyond. Tidal Wave has produced over 200 comic book biographies over the years, with previous titles profiling women such as Oprah Winfrey and Gloria Steinem. Yes, because everyone's just clamoring for the new Oprah Winfrey comic. You ever walked into your local comic book store and be like, yo, you got Oprah Winfrey #1? And they're like, yeah, CGC graded 9.8, $3,000. It doesn't happen. Widely viewed as one of the best in the sport today, Griner, 32, dealt with an unexpected disruption in her life and career as she was detained at a Russian airport in February for possessing hashish oil in her luggage. The latter pled guilty to charges and was eventually sentenced to 9 years in a Russian penal colony. After 10 months in custody, Griner was released on December 8th in a 1-for-1 prisoner swap for international arms dealer Victor Bout. Again, the Merchant of Death. There has been a Nick Cage movie about him. It's actually pretty good. If you spoiler alert, if you want to watch Jared Leto die, go watch this movie. Are you feeling some type of way about it, Hondo? You hear him chirping away? Even he knows this prisoner exchange was stupid, and he's a bird. His brain is the size of what would you say, buddy? Like a chickpea? Yeah, probably like a brain the size of a chickpea, and he knows this was bad, don't you, buddy? On the court, Griner's resume stands out as one of the most accomplished by any player in WNBA history. Not that that's a big list, but the former #1 pick has accumulated numerous accolades during her 4 collegiate sessions and 9 years in the pros, according to a WNBA, including a WNBA championship, 2 Olympic gold medals, 8 WNBA All-Star selections, 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, and an NCAA title in 2012, along with most outstanding player honors. With Griner having already confirmed her intention to play her 10th WNBA season this summer, basketball fans will surely be eager to see how the next chapter of the Stars' center life plays out months to come. Female Force Brittney Griner will be available in print and digital formats on January 18th. Oh my goodness. Well, that is the end of that. And no, I have a sneaking suspicion that no one is going to buy this comic, or at least a very, very small minority will. There's no way they can break even with this. I mean, unless they're just paying their artists and writers pennies. Where's the market for this? By all means, if you're watching this and you actually are interested in the comic, unironically, if you're ironically interested in it, like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it just so I can say I have it, like, that's one thing. I can see people hate buying it or buying it for the lulz, maybe even making it like a gag gift, like you've got a buddy who you know is a massive Spider-Man fan. You're like, hey man, I know you like comics and your birthday's coming up, so here, I thought you might like this, and you give them the Brittney Griner comic, like, as a troll joke. I can see it selling for reasons like that. I can't see this selling unironically, so if you do buy it unironically, or if you have an interest in it unironically, tell me why, because maybe I'm missing something. But beyond that, I can't see this selling. There was no good press around this for her pretty much from the get-go. From the moment they announced who we were selling, or who we were trading for, people were outraged. The vast majority of individuals were like, what? Basketball player lesbian for Merchant of Death? Come again? And there was no support for it. You had minimal support on Twitter, I suppose. You had, the Twitter mob being the Twitter mob, being like, you all don't want her to come back just because you're racist. It was just a little weed, things like that, which, whatever. That's not the case. The point is, so some basketball player, I don't even care that it's a WNBA player. If a celebrity goes to Russia, breaks the law, and gets put in prison, And we have, like veterans over there, Navy SEALs over there who haven't seen their family in 4 years because they're stuck in detainment. Maybe focus on them first. No one's gonna buy this. It's a joke of a book. It's a joke of a concept. And if there was support for Brittney Griner, if she was someone of note, if her story actually had good intentions behind it as opposed to just this clout chasing bogus, maybe this would be a different story. But it's not. I can't believe this is happening. But by all means, let me know in the comments below. Maybe you have different look at this. Maybe you have some different insight, and I would love to hear it. But other than that, just please subscribe to the channel. Check out my previous works. There's a major D&D controversy going down right now if you haven't been privy to it, so I've got some videos on that, as well as a review of the first 2 episodes of Velma. I'll give you a bit of a spoiler. Not good, but maybe you can check out why in the video before. And if that's not your cup of tea, anime, video games, really anything in the nerdosphere, go ahead and check out my channel and find out, and please do subscribe, because this has been Words of Paradise.